What's up everyone, Nick here from TV Box Top and welcome to my channel. What I have for you today is a brand new mini PC from Beelink, and this one is by far their most powerful mini PC to date. This is the Beelink GTR Ryzen 5 Windows 10 mini PC. In this video, I'm going to examine its hardware and features, then I'll run some benchmarks and compare it to other mini PCs and TV boxes. Then I'll briefly test its performance on the Windows, after which I'll have some fun with it and install Android x86 to test its compatibility and see if it can simulate the role of a full-fledged Android TV box. So don't go anywhere, a full review is up next. Welcome back. Beelink has released numerous mini PCs in the past, all running on Intel chipsets, and most of them have great performance. But this is the first time they have used an AMD chipset, and it's really exciting because not only that it's AMD, but it's AMD Ryzen that in the last couple of years made leaps and bounds and is now known for their power and performance. The GTR comes in 3 configurations. There is a barebone model that comes with no RAM and storage. There is an 8GB 256GB model, and there is a 16GB 512GB model. This is the 8GB 256GB model, and it's a 64-bit instruction set running on an AMD Ryzen 5 3550H quad-core CPU featuring 8 threads with a base clock speed of 2.1 GHz and a boost speed of 3.7 GHz. Its GPU is the Radeon Vega 8 graphics processor running at 1200 MHz. It has 8GB of DDR4 RAM, but it can take up to 32GB, and it has 256GB of storage on an M.2 2280 SSD. It also comes with an additional M.2 NVMe PCI Express 4 expansion slot. For even more expandable storage, included in this model is a 1TB 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. It features the new dual-band Wi-Fi 6 802.11ax technology with Bluetooth 5.1 support and a gigabit 1000 megabits per second Ethernet LAN port. Let's now take a look at what's inside the box. In the box, you have the Beelink GTR mini PC itself. A pair of HDMI cables, one is 11 inches and the other is 42 inches 3.5 feet. A mounting bracket and screws for mounting to the back of your TV or monitor. A 19 volts 3 amps DC power adapter. A 16GB flash drive with the Windows 10 operating system. And a user's manual and an installation guide. Let's now have a look at its design and ports. The body is made of a high-quality magnesium alloy with a Beelink logo, AMD Ryzen stickers, and a fingerprint sensor to the top. To the rear, it has 2 HDMI 2.0B ports, one 1.1 display port, 4 USB 3.0 ports, dual RJ45 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports, a DC power input, and a dual exhaust vents for the dual cooling fans inside. At the front, it has 2 more USB 3.0 ports, one Type-C port, a headphone jack, a clear CMOS button, dual built-in microphones, and an LED power button. Both sides of this PC have intake vents for each cooling fan respectively. Below the PC, you have 2 anti-skid rubber strips, screw holes for attaching the mounting bracket, 4 screws for removing the entire panel, and some ventilation holes in a GTR pattern. Once you remove the bottom panel, you will have access to the expandable storage caddy, where you can use a regular 2.5-inch SATA hard drive or an SSD. However, in order to remove or change the drive, you have to unscrew the 4 screws that secure the caddy. Detaching the caddy also gives you access to the M.2 SSD slot, the M.2 NVMe slot, and the RAM slots. And below the main board is a pair of cooling fans that use smart gain technology on top of a massive heat pipe system for effective heat management. So I'll put all this back together and start the boot up process. The Windows boot up process for the GTR is the same as with any other PC, where you have to complete a startup wizard. However, seeing that the GTR has a fingerprint sensor, during the setup wizard you'll be asked whether you would like to set your fingerprint to unlock the PC, along with the option to set a PIN code. Once you have completed the wizard, you are then taken to the desktop and you are free to start using it. Now that I've successfully booted into Windows, let's now take a look at its basic system information. It shows that the operating system is Windows 10 Pro, the model is the GTR, and the CPU is the AMD Ryzen 5 3550H running at 2.1 GHz. It has 8 GB of RAM and it's a 64-bit operating system. Below here shows that Windows is activated. To get a little more in depth, here is the ADA 64 Extreme hardware summary. Here it shows the same CPU and chipset information. Its RAM is a DDR4 2266 SDRAM module running at 1333 MHz. The video adapter, which is the AMD Radeon Vega 8, is a 2 GB hexa-core GPU. These are its audio adapters, and I have some exciting developments on this later in the video. Here you can see the 1TB Western Digital SATA 3 hard drive and the 256GB M.2 SSD. If I scroll down on the network, it shows that it has Bluetooth support and it has a dual-band Intel Wi-Fi 6 AX200 160 MHz network adapter. And that's basically its for hardware information. I now return to the desktop and let's look at some of its features. There are 4 features I would like to highlight in this model. First of all is its display resolution and display quality. The Radeon Vega 8 has a maximum display resolution of 4K 2160p at 60Hz, and that is on my LG 4K TV. But I've seen in other demonstrations that the Vega 8 can output as high as 2160p at 144Hz. The next feature, which complements its 4K display capability, is that it also has HDR display, which has to be enabled manually in the settings area. This is my first mini PC to feature 4K HDR display under Windows. I know there are many PCs out there that may also have this feature, but it's the first time I'm experiencing it on a mini PC. The third feature that piqued my interest is that it features 7.1 Dolby and DTS audio output. This is also the first time I'm encountering this feature on a mini PC. And I will also for the first time be performing a 4K HDR, Dolby and DTS surround sound audio test from a Windows operating system. All attempts to do this in the past on previous models have failed, so keep watching and we'll see if the GTR can change the status quo. The fourth feature is its ability to extend its desktop to 4 displays at the same time. With the GTR, you can connect 2 displays on the HDMI ports, one on the display port and another on the Type-C port, while using an adapter of course, giving you a total of 4 displays. So those were some interesting features. Let's now take a look at some benchmarks and see if the results reveal anything interesting. There are many apps you can use to benchmark a PC, but the apps I use are well suited for what they are intended, and that is to give you an idea of how a mini PC matches up to high-end TV boxes and the kind of power it delivers if you decide to get one. First, the results of the NovaBench RAM copy and internal storage read and write speeds. The results show that the GTR has a RAM copy speed of 14,861 MB per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 1,132 MB per second and a write speed of 1,145. These results are higher than usual, and it augurs well for this mini PC. Next, I have the results of the dual Wi-Fi bands and the Gigabit Ethernet LAN speed test. The results show that the GTR has maximum bandwidth on the 5 GHz band and on both LAN ports. The 2.4 GHz band fell short by 59%. So, if you have an internet connection that's 100 megabits per second and over, you would want to use the 5 GHz band or the LAN ports. Next is the result of the PC Mark X Comprehensive Benchmark Score. This is also the benchmark that I use to rank mini PCs on my chart. In this benchmark, the GTR got a score of 3,572. This is a really high score, and we shall see how well it does on the chart. And now the results of the Geekbench 5 CPU benchmark. In this test, the GTR got a score of 897 single core and 3010 multi-core. Again, some decent scores and should perform well on the chart. The final benchmarks are from the 3DMark Gamers Bench GPU benchmark. In these tests, it got a score of 638 in the Time Spy test, which is the recommended test for this PC, and just for reference, it scored 56,139 in the iStorm Extreme test and 10,879 in the CloudGate test. So that's it for the benchmarks, and let's now see where it places on the chart. So the scores have been added to the chart, and it shows that the Beelink GTR is at position number 1 in reference to PC Mark X benchmark scores, with scores that are twice as high than the other models. You can view this chart on my blog, along with the top TV box ranking chart for 2020. See the link in the description below this video. Now that we have seen the power of this PC, it's now left to be seen how it performs basic and intensive functions. To test basic functions, I've installed all the Microsoft Office applications and they all work without issues. Next, browsing the web is a breeze on this PC with every possible browser you can think about. When it comes to YouTube, you can view YouTube up to 4K 2160p quality on any browser. However, after testing each browser, I found that YouTube plays in 4K 2160p the smoothest on the Firefox browser. For streaming movies and TV shows, you can enjoy Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, and any premium streaming services once they are available in your country. To try a little more intensive function, I'll now play some 4K HDR videos to see how it handles the playback. This is something every mini PC I've tested in the past have failed at, so let's give the GTR a try.
and only a win for Barca would be enough because it would give them the same number of points as Atletico, but the head-to-head goal difference is what counts in the case of a tie on points. The mosaic of the Camp Nou.
So the 4K samples played using the default Windows movie and TV player. Each video played with a slight hindrance, then proceeded to play perfectly. I'm quite pleased to finally test a mini PC that can play 4K HDR videos and output HDR display at the same time. But it doesn't stop there. We saw earlier in the video that it has 7.1 Dolby surround sound audio capabilities. I will now connect it to my receiver and test for Dolby Atmos, DTS-X HD Master Audio, THX, and Dolby TrueHD.
This is Dolby Atmos, the world's first object-based cinematic audio. With powerful moving audio that transcends from channels to moving around you with
juries, executioners, judges.
Now clear doors.
This is the left channel. Next, we have the center channel. Over here is the right channel.
That's just amazing. In this test, it shows that the Beelink GTR has Dolby Atmos, DTS-X HD Master Audio, THX, and Dolby TrueHD surround sound audio output. To test the power of the Radeon Vega 8 graphics processor, I would attempt to play a game that I would usually play on my gaming PC, which is Mortal Kombat X. All other mini PCs in the past that I have attempted to play this game on has failed miserably, with very sluggish graphics and poor graphics detail. Let's see how it plays on the GTR. Please note, this game contains fighting, blood and gore, so parental guidance is advised.
I'm no pushover, Lau.
Round 1, fight. Round 2, fight.
Game's quicker than the eye. Headache?
The game played pretty well, better than I expected. However, this is on low graphics 1080p resolution settings, as it started having some difficulty when the resolution was set to 4K. This brings to an end my review of the Windows operating system. I will now install Android x86 as a separate operating system on the 1TB expandable hard drive. Let's see how well Android x86 integrates with AMD hardware. This is totally experimental and not included in your purchase. However, if installed successfully and is compatible with the hardware, it can be a useful feature. If you would like to learn how to install Android x86 as a separate operating system on a mini PC, see the link in the description to a video tutorial. So this is Android 10Q x86 running on AMD Windows hardware. For those of you in the x86 community, I would like to inform you that finding the most suitable version was not an easy task, and it took me over a week of experimentation to finally find the most compatible version to work on this PC. The major challenge was finding a version with drivers for the Radeon Vega 8 graphics card. The most compatible versions currently are the BlissROM versions, and not any BlissROM but the latest Android 10 versions only. This is the BlissROM Lineage OS 17.1 version and it works, but all is not well. You have issues with no Wi-Fi and intimate LAN connectivity. These worked well on the other versions of Android x86, but those versions did not have the drivers for the graphics card. Bluetooth works okay, and I got internet to work via USB using a Type-C hub that has a LAN port. Another issue is that you only have audio on the headphone jack, and I was unable to successfully switch the audio to HDMI. So those are the upfront issues, and I'm sure from reading the forums that AMD is fairly new to the Android x86 community and they have already started working on compatibility. So rest assured there will be much improvements in the future. So this is the first time I'm running Android x86 on AMD hardware. So let's take a look at this hardware configuration and see what's the difference between this PC and those that run on Intel CPUs. The first thing I notice is that it does not utilize all of the RAM allocated. Here it shows that it has 6GB of RAM and this PC has 8GB. The CPU utilizes the correct number of CPU cores with a maximum CPU clock range of 2.1 GHz, which is the CPU's base clock speed. This is unlike Intel mini PCs that utilizes the boost clock speed. It's a 64-bit instruction set and it has support for 64-bit ABIs, allowing it to run 64-bit applications. The display shows that you have 4K resolution on the Radeon Vega 8 GPU with a refresh rate of 60Hz with OpenGLES version 3.2. Well, I already said that you don't have Wi-Fi support, so it shows here that the 5 GHz band is not supported. It shows the version of Android as Android 10, and the root state is not displayed in this menu. It shows that the box runs cool around 49 degrees Celsius, and that is due to the dual internal cooling fans and the heat pipe configuration. The codecs show that it has DTS audio decoders, but I'm unable to test digital audio output because I don't have audio passed through via the HDMI ports. This is a powerful mini PC, so let's now look at the kind of benchmarks we have on the Android. First, the Antutu benchmark scored 170,304, but this is on Antutu version 7 as version 8 or higher failed to run. It has RAM copy speed of 25,863 MB per second and 172 MB per second read speed and 128 MB per second write speed. It got a Geekbench 4 score of 4,106 single core and 12,333 multi-core. In the GPU benchmark, it maxed out in the Ice Storm Extreme test, got 4,742 in the Slingshot test, and 4,712 in the Slingshot Extreme test. These benchmarks on the Android are overkill compared to what you get on regular Android TV boxes, but as one viewer said, what's the use of Android x86 unless you intend to sit around all day and run benchmarks? So in this situation, I would only use Android x86 on the GTR for watching movies and TV shows, and definitely playing high graphics Android games.
Booyah!
Scanning. Alert. Scanning. Shield 50%.
So this is the best gameplay you will get from a mini PC. With all the graphics details set to the highest on every game I played, there was absolutely no freezing or throttling of any kind. There is, however, the issue where the developers of Android x86 are still working on AMD compatibility, and there are lots of games that cannot be played on the GTR at this time. Also, I could not get gamepad key mapping apps to work. But keep in mind, what I'm doing here running Android x86 has nothing to do with the GTR. Everything I'm doing in this segment is 100% experimental, and issues faced has nothing to do with the quality of the PC or its hardware. In summary, the Beelink GTR is my first AMD mini PC ever, and I'm truly impressed with its hardware, performance, design, and expandability. The only issue I can recall is the 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi band fell short by 59%. This is truly a remarkable device, and I would encourage anyone looking for a high-performance mini PC for standard desktop work, light video editing, or a mini PC that can handle large Windows games usually played on gaming PCs. This PC also has HDR display, Dolby and DTS surround sound audio on the Windows, and it can play 4K videos very well. Thanks goes out to Geekvine for making this review possible by sending this PC for review. Also, for those who are interested in purchasing one of the 3 models, they have provided coupons for each model, which I have placed in the description directly below this video and on my blog. So I've come to the end of my review. Thanks for watching. Give this video the thumbs up if the information contained in this video was of value. Remember to use the coupon codes in the description before they expire. And if you are a first-time viewer to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell before leaving to be notified when I release new videos or decide to do a giveaway. Stay tuned and I'll be seeing you in the next one.